All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to start the our new project, Stephen. Spray paint self-portrait. So I'm going to go to Art Highway here, which is where I got all this stuff. So if you forget any of these steps or videos that I'm about to show you, you can go right here and find them. I'll show you where those are in a second. So here we go. See the portrait in the background?
Yes, sir.
That's what we're going to do. Now, we are going to use paint in this project, but it is not a painting project. We're going to get to that in a project. Actually, next is our painting project. So we're using paint, but it's not a painting project. So let's scroll up here. I'm going to show you some examples of finished ones. These are some finished ones from last semester. Some from his story, some from his barn, some from mine. You're going to create a spray paint ground, which is the background, and then you're going to draw the picture that I took the other day on top of it. And then you're going to fill in the black with paint. So you're going to draw it and just fill it in with paint. And the reason we use paint is because it looks fantastic. Marker, everything else just sits on top of the spray paint funny, but paint looks great. So you're basically just filling in with black. Question?
What if like we don't draw something?
Good question. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. Everybody ready? Who's that lady? Try again. We talked about her.
Bob Marley.
Thank you, Hampton, for the win. Frida Kahlo.
I want to say
Now, did Frida paint this?
yeah.
No. This was done by a modern artist of Frida. All right? They came up with this crazy background, much like we're going to do, and then they juxtaposed an actual photograph of her in black and white on top of it. All right? We're not just going to just put the photograph. We're actually going to draw from a photograph. But it's very similar. This is where I got the idea for this project. Actually, Ms. Barnes got the idea for this project. And so I thought it was perfect tie-in of Frida. All right, so you're going to explore facial anatomy via your facial anatomy. Create interesting ground using spray paint and stenciling. So a lot of you have used spray paint before, and you used it totally wrong. I did when I was a kid too. So I'm going to show you the correct way to use spray paint so it looks good. Doesn't look all amateur spray paint Brooklyn subway train. All right? All right, here you go. You got Frida. There's some more portraits of her. That's the one we did. That's another one. I told you she painted herself a bunch. Who's that guy? We haven't covered him yet. He's an extremely famous artist. Van Gogh. Kelsey for the win. Van Gogh. All right. He was a pop artist in the 80s. Lived in New York City. You've heard of him. You probably didn't know who it was. Kind of looks like Kurt Cobain. Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol. He did the Campbell soup cans. He's the guy that said everybody's famous for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. All-time greatest artist of all time. Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso. And that's a self-portrait of him when he was a youth in his style. He did the abstraction.
Yep.
We're going to cover him later. Who else? All right, and then here we go. Now, this is Big Kenneth. I had taught Big Kenneth about 2 years ago. Big Kenneth was probably the worst artist I've ever had. All right? This looks exactly like him. Exactly like him. How did he do so good?
I don't know.
Because it was simple black and white.
Simple black and white. I took a great picture of him. All right? And he used what I'm about to show you just like I showed you. All right? We're going to do a grid system, and he did it exactly like that. It came out perfect. His mama cried when she saw this, because until then, he not brought nothing home good. And he brought home a picture of himself that looked exactly like him, went right over the fireplace. All right? So I'm telling you that, and I'm using Big Ken as an example. You can all do this. If he can do it, Lord knows y'all can do it. All right? Here we go. So watch carefully. Step one. Check. I did that already. Step two. Edit your portrait so it's just black and white. See all the shadows are gone? All the blends are gone? That's an awesome picture. Now it's an awesome, easy to draw picture. You're welcome. Thank you. Awesome art teacher. All right, step three. Enlarge your picture from 6 by 9. We use James here since he's not here. You're going to enlarge it to 12 by 18, and you're going to use the grid, which I'll show you how to do that. I got a perfect thing coming up for that. And who has used the grid drawing method before? You have? All right, if you haven't, I'm going to actually have a video to show you exactly what to do. But in a nutshell, there's your small picture. Here's your large picture. Those are 1-inch squares. These are 2-inch squares. So whatever's in that bottom corner, you draw it in this bottom corner. And then you go to the next square and draw whatever you see. And it basically draws itself. If you let the grid do its thing, it'll draw itself. And even Big Kenneth can do it. and it looked perfect. All right, this is actually a hard picture, though. It's got lots of value changes. The one we have is just straight black and white. You can do it upside down, actually better. All right, you're gonna crop your picture, which I've got a video for that, so I'm gonna skip over that. And are we using it just on plain white paper? No. We're going to use the spray paint grounds. There's old Ernest. Ernest looks just like him. If those who know Ernest, he can do it, you can do it. All right, here's another one. And here's some finished ones. It's Octavius. He graduated last year. Now, what I want you to look at is not necessarily look at the face, because those look great. Look at the backgrounds. Look how they place the whites. There's lots of layers. All right? I'll let that turn on. All right, lots of different options. Colors, dark colors, light colors, some high contrast white. So we're going to be laying down stencils and spraying them around them. She splattered some extra stuff on hers. See the shapes in the background, there's Kenneth again. He was a football player, and it's the football shapes he used. And they were terrible shapes, but you don't even notice them the way he placed them. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to do a collage stencil, so it's going to cover it all up. So even ugly shapes kind of vanish, and they just kind of read like a texture. All right? I got a bunch of good ones. All right, these look exactly like these people. You probably recognize some of them. She still goes here. Say her. All right, there's a bunch in a row. All right, so this is what we're going to do today. It's the first thing you're going to do. I'm going to show you a video about this, about how to use them. You're going to make your grounds. Now, here's the trick, the 1, 2, 3 method. 3 interesting shapes, small, medium, and large. One about as big as your finger, all right, about as big as a credit card. One about the size of your fist, and then a large one the size of your open hand. Small, medium, large. Keep the negative shapes. What's negative space? The what? Which is negative and which is positive in this image right here? Which is the positive space? The thing, the object, right? Keep your cutout. So keep your negative space. And in my video, I use my negative space, and it makes it look super, super cool. It adds repetition. It adds complexity. So keep your cutout. So if you cut out a heart, keep the part you cut out. And you can spray that too. It actually makes it easier. All right? All right, so that leads me to the video. So I'm going to back out of here and go to the videos part, which is right here. I'm going to show you the... Here it is. I'm going to do spray paint collages. And the way to do that is you're going to have several of your designs cut out of cardboard. Keep your negative space because you can actually reuse that later. You can have big, medium, and small pieces. Now, I'm a fan of skulls, so I did skulls. And so I'm going to put one skull over there. I'm going to put the negative space for it right beside it. Actually, I'm going to go over here with it on the edge. I've got this skull, which I'm going to put right here. I've got this smaller skull, which I'm going to fit right there, and I've got some of their negative shapes. Since I've got negative over here, I'm going to do negative over here. So I'm balancing it out, moving around.
So I'm fitting these guys together.
Now I've got some tiny scraps too.
I've got that guy's negative space right there. I might put him right here. The eye shape, I've got the eye shape right there.
I kept everything.
I'll do that right here, and I've got the eye shape right there. I'll do that right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to spray and move. So I'm going to start with a silver color. Actually, I'm going to start with a dark color. Which is green. And what you want to do is kind of pulse the spray paint.
That's the key.
I'm leaving this area because I don't want to cover it all. I'm going to move my shapes down there. And what you do is you shift everything just a little bit. You shift it, shift it, shift it, shift it. Switch colors. Now this time I'm going to go a little bit of red. Get his eyes in. Heavier in some areas, lighter in others. Now, before I get too carried away, I'm going to move some stuff down here. Put that there. Let's put this big guy over here. I'm going to flip this guy over and put him right there.
See that flip backwards?
Put this guy up here. His negative space, I'm going to put it over there. The eye coming off of that, I'm going to put right there. Right there, you stop in between. Okay. I need something big in the middle. What can I do there? I'll just be careful. Now I'm going to go back with, this time I'm going to go silver. Actually, I'm going to go, there it is.
Kept track of how many colors I've used? 3. Don't go too crazy. It'll get like Puerto Rican festival. You want to keep it simple.
And what you get is these little white edges everywhere. I'm going to switch to red and go easy red. Essentially what you're going to do is build up your surface with light colors. So I'm doing it nice and light because you're going to do a dark image on top. And if it's too dark on dark, what will happen? You won't see it. Alright, now we're going to do another major shift. I'm going to take them all off. You can see, even though I'm using skulls, they're kind of getting hidden, which is exactly what I wanted. Alright, I'm going to use my big guy. I'm going to use him, back down here again, except this time I'm not going to put it on the edge. I'm going to put his negative space right up with him. Kind of like that. I love this skull, so I'm going to put him over there. His negative space I'm going to put above him. His negative space over there, lining up with that. Put this eyeball right here to repeat it. I'll put 2 randoms down here just to break it up. You do want some white, but you don't want it all white. And now before I do any more, I'm going to do a gentle shift and then silver again.
So that's 3 shifts and 2 major moves.
In.
Everybody's will be a little bit different.
In.
You can move it as many times as you want, just until it looks good.
Silver. There she is. Silver's a nice light color. So bring back some of my lights.
Got that red. I got the red kind of heavy.
So I'm just selectively doing it, not just covering the whole thing in spray paint. Spray paint's cool, but it's not, you don't want to overdo it. Now, take a break and see what you got. If you need to keep going, you can, but if you don't, definitely stop. Now you want it to be generally light, which mine is. I'm going to do dark on top of it and you'll still be able to see me. So I'm going to stop right there, and that's how you do a spray paint collage.
All right, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, Zach, can you hit the lights for me real quick?